Welcome to Modern Outreach episode
12. Welcome back.
We're almost a teenager.
Oh,
how cute.
Wow.
So, recap.
Last episode, we talked about harm reduction. We talked about some treatment resources.
Addiction.
Yep. I think we brought some quality content.
Always.
100%.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Make sure to take care of the ones around you. Never use alone. Make sure that Narcan is available around you. And yeah, live life. And you know you can get a natural high off of life.
I mean, always.
Always.
And if you want to refer back, check out our website. That's where we'll post. And we have been posting all of the resources we've talked about. And more to come for sure.
Yes, you can click on a resource and it goes directly to their website.
Yep. So again,
cool.
Check it out.
Check it out. Let us know how you think. Also, make sure to check out our Instagram. We are dropping a lot of resources day to day, especially just like LA resources, food drives, diaper drives, financial literacy programs, job opportunities. So please make sure to check that out too.
For sure.
Kat, let's swan dive into this episode.
Let's do it.
What's the topic?
Today we're going to talk about who
is LAHSA?
And what does LAHSA stand for?
Los Angeles Homeless Authority.
Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority.
Duh.
I mean,
services. You
if
guys
you
know what
didn't
service.
know,
Tomato, tomato. Da, 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 da. Anywho, yes, that's what it is. And should I say it's ching ching bling bling as well? Okay,
the
that's
people with the money.
That's deity. LAHSA is deity. Okay, that's what LAHSA is. LAHSA is the one who's funding all these shelters, all these programs, all these services, all these retention, all these problem solving. It's LAHSA.
They are really the ones navigating the whole homeless service
shebang.
Yeah, I mean, they really, like you said, they got the money.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people want to know, where is that money going? What are these programs?
Yes.
Are they serving any purpose? Are they valuable? I think they are very valuable.
Extremely valuable. Without LAHSA, geez Louise, where would we be?
Oh my God, I can't imagine. Chaos.
Chaos. Complete, utter chaos.
Yeah.
You know, LAHSA really does it all. LAHSA is literally in charge of so many different things, right? Shelters, so important. Winter shelters, DV shelters, ODR program shelter. I mean, like, every single program is funded by LAHSA.
And all of the agencies that we are connected to, that we work with, that we collaborate with, they all contribute under the same system electronically. And I think it's such a smart thing that, I mean, if any city isn't doing this already, you are so behind. But it connects all of the agencies. It creates a common language so that if you're going from one agency, one organization to another, they have those notes. They can pick up from where you left off. You're not having to start fresh each time. So I think that cuts out a lot of like the paperwork aspect that people have to retell their story each time, which to some degree, like, you still get, but there's so much more flow of like cohesiveness.
Yeah,
that's the word I was
sure.
looking for. There is a cohesiveness in terms of the support, and I think that's what we want, the collaboration, and it creates a space for that collaboration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I also think that LAHSA keeps things in check, especially when it comes to like harm reduction, trauma-informed care, all the different approaches that should be applied to services. LAHSA definitely is spearheading that campaign, especially when it comes to trainings, a lot of the different trainings that you'll receive are through LAHSA. So they are really opening up the communication on how you can appropriately do your job and train you appropriately to work within the system. And I think that's huge. They're funding everything, so of course they want it to run smoothly, and the way that they want is the top-notch customer service with clients, making sure they're getting what they need, and they make sure that you're properly trained for those things. And anyone can go on their website and utilize these trainings.
Yeah, but I think at the very top, like, they are really trying to provide a space for service providers to have the tools they need to be able to do the job. So I feel like even since we've entered into this field, we've seen such so many changes on their like website and like the way that they are evolving the system, which we've talked about how much we want to see that evolution, that those revisions. So I think the fact that we are seeing progress in such a short amount of time, it just shows that like
they get it.
They're listening to that feedback, and they're realizing that having electronic cohesiveness is huge. Having paper copies for participants that maybe don't have access to, they can't look online for resources. I love that they make it reachable. Like, that's so important, and I think they are really understanding who the population that they're serving, and that is so critical.
Yeah, definitely. I love how you can advocate for your client to LAHSA, and they really do listen, and majority of the time will provide the funding. Sure, it might take a while. Nobody's saying LAHSA's fast. We're saying LAHSA does their job, but LAHSA takes their time doing their job.
They are thorough.
They are thorough, and your I's have to be dotted and your T's have to be crossed. And so with that comes a little bit of time. But I've seen colleagues, I myself have advocated for funding for something, move-in funds for clients that can't afford it, first and last month rent for clients who couldn't afford it, and they have came through. So I just want to emphasize that yes, they're thorough in their approach, but they definitely do their job.
Yeah, and I think as well as what you've mentioned, there's also the outreach aspect of things, and they are really a great tool if you are looking to outreach someone in particular. It's a good point of contact. You will most likely see someone come out eventually. If you're not sure, because oftentimes with agencies, they have certain jurisdictions they work with. There's more like qualifications almost sometimes. With LAHSA, like, that is who a lot of people are referring to. So in some ways it kind of steps over some of the hurdles that you have to get to if you are able to successfully get connected. It
Absolutely.
definitely, there's many different ways you can get connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, when it comes to LAHSA, I really do want to emphasize how important they are to housing. First of all, the Universal Housing Application is ran by LAHSA. So they are basically created a system where we're streamlining the process on housing someone. And so all those documents are uploaded into the Universal Housing Application, and then they are batch matching. They are connecting people to housing through their system. And so they also are in charge of the CES, the coordinated data entry, where this is where every single homeless person is put through the system, and you have to get a certain number that equals your vulnerability level, in which that opens opportunities to different housing opportunities, in which LAHSA is kind of spearheading that as well. So they are woven into all of the steps when it comes to housing people through the system. So that's, again, how important they are as well. Yeah, I think that with LAHSA, they might have a bad reputation a lot of the times because maybe, they didn't approve something, or maybe they didn't come through with the funds in time, or whatever the case is. And they are a huge entity. They are taking care of over 65,000 homeless people. It's a lot. They're going through a revolving door of providers all the time. I mean, you could only imagine what they go through on their end. And a lot of the time, maybe they're hiring, maybe they're down-staffed. You never know. And so I just kudos to LAHSA for even attempting to figure out this crazy thing called homeless services in Los Angeles. I mean, we're talking about thousands of people with so many different concerns within their lives, spectrums. I mean, goodness, it's a lot. And so I think that they do a great example, or they are a great example for those that are, helping this population and trying and evolving. Again, like Kat mentioned, their website changing. That's amazing. How many people never change their website? They never evolve. For LAHSA to show that, yes, things change, funding might change. Maybe a group of people who needed services, they don't need it anymore, right? There's a new group. So then they have to change the funding around and change what is adaptable to all these situations. That's the beauty of working with people. There's changes constantly. So I'm really, really proud of what LAHSA does, no matter if they get a bad rap or not.
Yeah, and I really feel like there's no blueprint for this, especially when it comes to Los Angeles. There's no other city like it, and I really think there's this understanding that they are a model for other cities to then replicate the services off of. So there's an immense pressure on this entity because it's such a public issue that the whole world is watching. I mean, especially in this country, everyone is looking at how this city is responding to the unhoused population. And when they're looking at how they're responding, they're looking at this entity. They're looking at LAHSA. They're looking at what the coordinated entry system is. They're looking at, okay, what is the housing that's being built? What is the housing that's available? The different programs within housing, the different levels of care. LAHSA is the one that determines like what those levels of care looks like. Making sure that people are being directed to the appropriate housing services. The right housing for them, the project-based housing that we talk about, a lot of that is being referred from LAHSA. So it's, again, a huge entity, a huge force in driving what that looks like.
Yeah, I think about LAHSA because you have an entity that probably looks for people and organizations and other nonprofits to collaborate who they can trust to take the funding and use it appropriately, to take the funding and really, really help people. And I know that, some organizations really strive and really help, and some organizations might sit on the money and they don't help, and they don't look into where that money could go. A lot of the money that was given, they're finding out, wasn't even spent. And so I know that if there are any organizations that are actually making a difference, housing people, helping people transition, and I hope someone from LAHSA listens to this, but there needs to be funding into transitioning people off the street mentally, psychologically. And so you can house someone, but mentally they're still on the street. They haven't like changed overnight, people. And so we need more funding in that. We need more funding in retention, keeping people housed. Some people are not financial literate. Okay, they're financial illiterate. they are living above their means, they never had an apartment, they're not even making the appropriate amount to take care of themselves and take care of their rent. And so how can we make programs into that, and educate people, and maybe if they go to these classes and graduate from these programs, then they can continue keeping the funding for their housing. We have to also hold people accountable, and LAHSA needs to know that, because I don't know if organizations are giving LAHSA appropriate feedback, but LAHSA needs feedback. You don't just take the money as an organization and then you don't give them the feedback, because like sometimes a program's not working. Maybe one program needs all the funding and they don't have it. The funding's in another program that doesn't need it. Those things always have to keep on getting refreshed and revised and evolving. And I feel like LAHSA can only do so much, but the entities that it does partner with should be taking the brunt of that and meeting them in the middle and figuring it out.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah, so we want that funding to stay. We really do want to highlight the benefits. We see that firsthand how much of a difference that can make. Again, we are the service providers that work collaboratively with LAHSA. So.
We're the ones who are begging you for money, LAHSA, all the times to save our clients, to get them out of a hole that our services cannot provide, but you can.
Yeah, and I also wanted to talk about the way in which LAHSA gets their data. I think every year a lot of media you hear about like, oh, how many, what is the unhoused population out there? That comes from a count that happens annually where a lot of volunteers, a majority of them are service providers, but also maybe just local residents, they come together normally in the afternoon, evening time, and there's a literal count that is done within each neighborhood of how many people are, like how many encampments there are, how many, the people that are in shelter and staying in their cars, they're also counted into this. And while it's probably not going to be an exact number, it is a good general idea of what the streets are looking like. If there is a dramatic increase, if we're seeing a reduction in the amount of people out on the street or accessing those services, then I think it's really important to be able to catch that data to the best of your abilities, because again, like that is an incredibly difficult task to do, especially with the size of Los Angeles. So they definitely do their best. I know this year it was pushed back because of the fires, and I'm sure because of the fires that number has had a significant change from what it probably was before. I'm not sure they've released those numbers yet. The count has already happened, but it would be really interesting to talk about that more once we do get that, because I'm sure we're all very eager to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I am for sure, because before the fires, we were at about 65,000 homeless people within LA County. So I just want to note, I would love to know after the fires what the heck that number looks like, and what are we doing to help those people. Also, when it comes to LAHSA, I do emphasize the importance, because now that we have a different presidency, who the heck knows if there will be a LAHSA here on out. And so, we have to know the importance of entities like LAHSA so we can fight to the death to keep them, and to educate people on what exactly these things are, because no one goes outside of their way to say, oh, I got a voucher, but I don't know who's paying this for me. I mean, I don't know. And they never even, especially if they're receiving the services, no one's like, who helped me?
Yeah.
Who does that? They take it and they run and they don't care. And people need to stop. Like, no one, I'm sorry, but in life, no one's supposed to take care of you but you. And so thank God that there's things like LAHSA, which are safety nets for people who don't have a safety net. You need to You need to educate yourself. You need to make sure that you know what entities like LAHSA are so you can fight for them and vote for these things and educate your neighbor with these things so they can vote as well. And we can go against those who never used a service in their lives. So these people are making a decision for people who need these things, and they don't know anything because it doesn't pertain to them. So that's why this episode is so important, because you have to educate yourself on the things that are helping you, your family, your community, so that you can make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. And I really feel like I know that the people working for LAHSA, the people working for these other agencies too, we're in this field because we care and because we want to be doing this work. We want to see a difference. So I think remembering that, and if you are critical and if you don't feel like it's working great, by all means vocalize that, but don't wipe away the whole system. Again, focus on growing the areas that are working and fixing the areas that are not. That is what I really want to emphasize, if nothing else, that we want to see positive change, not total elimination or anything like that. So
exactly.
Really value that collaboration, really value what they do bring to the city.
Yes. And if this is America, then let's keep it that way. Because we're literally taking the fabric of our country and flushing it down the toilet. And if we get rid of entities like this, then who are men? What is humanity? What is being a human? What is being something with a soul, with a heart? Like, I'm really, really frustrated that people have to fight for these things. We should be over the fighting. We should be living in peace and helping each other, and all this toxicity is not right. So please make sure that you thank these entities. Ever send a thank you note to LAHSA? Actually, I have. Whenever LAHSA came through for me, whoever I was working with, thank you. Be a provider when you're collaborating, to thank the other entity for working with you. Thank them for providing the funds for your client. Tell your client, this is who helped you. Would you like for me to send an email to this entity to let them know thank you so much? Give these people their flowers because they need them. I don't see you out there hustling and bustling trying to help people. I don't see you taking money out of your pocket trying to help and feed the homeless and house the homeless. So let's build support around the entities that do.
And we definitely need that positive, because there's so much negative out there. Finding those wins where they are is really so valuable.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Konnichiwa. Well, we hope you liked it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And Cat's gonna hit the button now. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Please. And thank you.
Konnichiwa.